Welcome to Small Group. Whether you attend Waite Park Church or not, we want you to know we're thrilled to have you with us. Thank you for being a part of a small group. We're in the second week of our focus season, The Good Life. Last week we talked about how people sometimes live with a life over God posture, when we live as though we know better than God how to live our lives. This week we want to talk about the life under God posture, which is often a reaction to life over God. Life under God, unfortunately, sometimes gets communicated by religious people today. I remember going to a Christian youth summer camp for a week where the students would have to turn in their cell phones at the beginning of camp. The woman collecting those cell phones would say, "Now remember, Revelations 21:8 says, 'Liars go to hell.'" And you can imagine then how that shaped the perspective of those middle school and high school students on their first day of camp. We take the life under God posture when we see ourselves primarily as God's slaves, and we see God primarily as our master. We exist to fear Him and obey Him, and He exists to judge and punish us when we fall out of line. In the parable of the prodigal son, the older brother lived with this misunderstanding of his father. In verse 29, we see why the older son is jealous that his father threw a feast for his younger brother. He says, "Look, all these years I've been slaving for you." And the older brother lived at home and didn't rebel like the younger son. Yet he did those things not out of love, but out of fear of punishment and out of a desire for reward. The older son saw himself as a slave and he saw his father as his master. The problems with this posture are many. It causes us to be self-righteous and judgmental. The older son felt unappreciated by his father. He was upset about the fact that the younger brother got something he didn't think he deserved. He didn't care about his brother's well-being. He wasn't happy to see him home in one piece, and he had no concern for how his father might be feeling during this time. Another problem is that it focuses on outward actions rather than the heart attitude. While the older son might have done all the right things, he wasn't in a right relationship with his father. In the church, we might receive a pat on the back for life under God, because we might look so good on the outside that no one in our community has any idea that we're miserable on the inside or that something is wrong with our relationship with God. The biggest problem with this posture is that it's based on a false picture of God. It's not by accident that the father in the parable goes out to both brothers. He pursues them. He's quick to forgive them and restore them. And in response to the older brother, he says, "My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours." You can see then that the mentality of the father is totally different than that of his sons. As a result, it causes both sons to miss out on the good life. Chances are every one of us has struggled with a life under God posture. Some have done it for so long that it's going to be an uphill battle to reshape and restore our thinking about who God is and how He sees us. The question is, do we truly believe that life is good when we live as God's child rather than as His slave? Let's talk about it.